right now.
Now on Denver 7 News, day 3 of the January 6th insurrection hearings.
We're taking a look at the pressure former President Trump put on Mike Pence to overturn the results of the 2020 election and the amount of danger the former VP was actually in.
I wanted to make sure the head of the Vice President's Secret Service was aware that that likely, as these disagreements became more public, that the president would lash out in some way.
We have live updates from Washington, D.C.
Plus tension within a local public school board.
It's really unfortunate that we have people of color on the board that want to set up our board to become the oppression Olympics.
How constant debate has members worried that the board's focus is losing sight of students.
And fans of all sizes are celebrating an Avs win in the Stanley Cup Final. Our Denver 7 sports team walks us through the highlights. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Shannon Ogden.
Good evening to you. I'm Ann Trujillo, and we begin tonight at the U.S. Capitol, where the Congressional Committee investigating the deadly January 6th attack on the Capitol held its third public hearing to present their findings to the American people.
Now, this time the committee focused on an alleged pressure campaign by former President Trump to get Vice President Pence to overturn the will of the voters and declare Trump the winner of the election. ABC's Jay O'Brien joins us from Washington tonight. Jay?
Yeah, and Shannon, good evening. The committee is trying to really lay out its case and say plainly that they believe former Vice President Mike Pence fulfilled his constitutional duty, refusing to block the certification of the election and not bowing to repeated pressure from Donald Trump.
In their third televised hearing, the House Select Committee investigating the deadly Capitol insurrection, focusing on former President Trump's efforts to stop Vice President Mike Pence from certifying Joe Biden's Electoral College victory.
Mike Pence said no. He resisted the pressure. He knew it was illegal. He knew it was wrong.
The committee trying to make clear Trump was told by several administration lawyers that Pence had no legal authority to overturn the 2020 election and make him the president. They also tried to draw a direct line between Trump's pressure on Pence and the Capitol attack.
Bring out Pence! Bring out! Bring out Pence!
Retired federal judge Michael Luttig, a conservative legal icon, testifying he plainly told Pence he could not do what Trump was asking.
Would have been the first constitutional crisis since the founding of the republic.
And Pence's former general counsel, Greg Jacob, who was with him in the Capitol on January 6th, agreed.
There is no justifiable basis to conclude that the vice president has that kind of authority.
While Pence is being praised for performing his constitutional duty on January 6th, just 2 days before, at a rally in Georgia, Pence himself seemed to question the validity of the 2020 election.
I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities. And I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress.
And in a new development, sources confirming to ABC News the January 6th committee is now in possession of emails between Trump legal advisor John Eastman, who drafted the campaign strategy to have Pence block the certification of the election, and Ginny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
The chair of the committee telling reporters today he wants to invite Ginny Thomas to address that congressional panel soon. Previously released documents show that Thomas was in contact with state legislatures in some key swing states, as well as former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, trying to overturn the 2020 election. And Shannon?
And Jay, the committee also laid out just how close Vice President Pence was to that Capitol mob that day. So what more did they say about that?
That is exactly right. They were trying to lay out the case that essentially this pressure campaign from former President Trump put his vice president in real danger. They showed video of rioters reading tweets from Trump in real time after the Capitol had been breached, bashing Pence. They were irate, those rioters, when they saw and read that tweet, and they announced it to the crowd. Additionally, they also showed just how close Mike Pence came to that Capitol mob, saying that he came within 40 feet of the rioters before being taken to a secure location where he waited out the rest of the attack. Ann and Shannon.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, meteorologist Stacey Donaldson's in tonight, and we have a weather action day because of this heat that's coming in.
We do. Today, afternoon highs have been in the low to mid 90s here for the Front Range and the Eastern Plains, but tomorrow it will be even hotter. So the National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for the Denver metro all the way across the northeastern portion of Colorado and the Eastern Plains for temperatures right around 100 degrees. Now tomorrow, 100 is our record set in 2021, but we are expecting those temperatures to be in the upper 90s and low 100s here for the Front Range and the Plains. We also expect more smoke to come in from the south here from fires down into New Mexico and Arizona. That'll be coming this way, so it will be hazy and hot. We're going to be talking more about how long this hot weather will stick around, and it'll affect your weekend plans in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you, Stacey. A contention within the DPS school board has the board president feeling she's being pushed out of her position.
As Denver 7's Micah Smith reports, now there are concerns that the infighting is keeping the board from getting anything done for students.
A moment of celebration during a Denver Public Schools Board of Education retreat. But DPS Board of Education President Xochitl Gaitan says the past few months have been filled with tension.
It's really insulting that you just equated my own pain of something that I went through as just brushing it off.
Gaitan says this is one of many examples of DPS Board of Education Vice President Tay Anderson interrupting her during a board meeting.
I myself was raised as an immigrant Latina, and I come with that experience. And when I try to voice that, I get interrupted, I get disparaged, my character is maligned.
Gaitan says school board member Scott Esserman has also participated in the disrespectful behavior. After the contentious task of filling a vacancy on the board, Gaitan says their insults intensified.
I'm concerned about the retaliatory action that two men on the board are taking against me.
Following comments Anderson made on a local podcast, she now fears that Anderson and Esserman are planning to strip her of presidential powers.
President Dr. Lisa Calderon, founder and executive director of Emerge Colorado, made a statement around how Robert's Rules of Order were being used to potentially silence individuals on our school board.
In an exclusive interview with Denver 7, Anderson is responding to Gaitan's allegations.
And I utilized that opportunity to say it's part of our policy. And if we're going to talk about policy changes, how do we ensure that our board of 7 is truly a board of 7 and not a board of 1?
But Anderson denied any effort to strip Gaitan of power.
Am I perfect? No, I am not. I look forward to always hearing from constructive criticism. You know, I'm disappointed that we're not centering our students in these conversations.
When I arrived to the Denver School Board, my purpose and intent has always been and will be to serve all students.
But Gaitan says Anderson's actions have disrupted the board and in turn taken attention away from the students that they serve. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
All right, now to the Avs and that heart-stopping overtime win in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And last night's victory over Tampa was the first ever Stanley Cup Final OT game ever in Denver. Nick Rothschild was there for all the action and has highlights for us tonight. Nick, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, look, Shannon, great little tidbit there. It may have been the first overtime goal in the finals here in Denver, but this Avalanche team, it's become an old hat for these guys playing past the final buzzer. Last night was their 5th OT game of this playoff run. They're now 4-1, while Tampa, it was just the 2nd time they've gone to overtime in this postseason. So despite all the championship experience the Bolts have, everyone was equal in the extra frame, and the Avs emerged victorious. But even though the Avs looked so cool under pressure last night, Gabe Landeskog is here to remind us they're still human.
I hope I'm not alone, but I was pretty nervous all day, and coming up for warm-ups, the fans are amazing, and you're trying to enjoy the moment as much as you can, but you know, you're human, and the nerves are there, and I think that's okay. You just got to deal with it, and I thought as a team we did a good job of that tonight.
Yeah, I think the Avs' collective mental fortitude has been the driving force behind their rampant success through these playoffs. They just seem to have this uncommon, unwavering sense of focus and determination. And that was on full display after the win last night. Because you'd think after taking a 1-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup Finals, you'd see some celebration. But instead, what we saw was workmanlike.
In a 7-game series, you can't get caught admiring a win or whatever you want to call it. So we'll get prepared in the next couple of days and be ready to go again.
How does 21-year-old Bo Byram already sound like he's been in the league for a decade? It's either maturity or indoctrination. Let you decide. Anyway, he's right. The Avs can't afford to revel in this victory. Tampa is 4-1 coming off a loss in this postseason, and they've scored 19 goals in those 4 wins. Both sides have a couple days to prepare, though. Game 2 is at Ball Arena on Saturday.
Coming up, a shortage of baby formula could last a little longer. Why a major plant is closing its doors again.
The heat returns to the Front Range and the Eastern Plains with a heat advisory that's been issued for tomorrow for highs around 100 degrees. I'll let you know if that'll last all weekend.
A Colorado company is bringing the heat this summer with its own brand of hot sauce.
As a hot sauce company owner, you kind of have to have something that's nuclear, or the real heat freaks will just relentlessly ask you for it.
The spicy flavors putting your taste buds to the test.